Good morning, Canadian Yarn Heart. I am Alyssa, and today we're going to be making a cover for this. It is a dollar store one. I mean, I'm sure if you grabbed a Swiffer, it would be very similar, the first style Swiffers. So we're going to make a cover for it, so a cleaning cover. I would have made one earlier. I'd even started it, but I realized these balls are not very large. We are using strawberries and cream, or sugar and cream, scrub off. The color is pretty purple. I'm going to move you over to the overhead cam and I'm going to get started. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so like I said, this is let's turn on the light. So it is a pretty purple. It is a 4 medium. It recommends a 4.5 medium needle and a 5 millimeter needle hook. Pardon me. I did, like I said, I had started it. I'm going to use these bamboo needles, 5 millimeter. And if you haven't seen one of my very first video, I do have a couple of good tips for wooden needles. It is a great video to watch. It is a little off because I don't have my overhead camera. It is a little more basic. I've learned a whole lot since I started just 3 months ago, but so now I have to find the end, but we're going to be making, like I said, a cover for the mat. The reason is these cost me $4.99 at Nuns Mills. I have not been able to find them anywhere else, and I will tell you right now, this is not a very fun yarn to work with, simply because it does not feel the greatest. It is, let me rephrase that, this part of it doesn't feel very nice. But if you are going to make a yarn to do scrubbing work, I know they have the plastic ones. I'm not a huge fan of the texture. Never worked with them. So if you do want to challenge me and ask me to work with it and find something that'll actually be functional, I can do that. But I have kept my eyes on these balls of yarn for quite a while now. I've been looking at them for about 6 months. And this was the first project that this immediately came to mind because it is, if you notice, it has the cotton in there and it has the scrubby. And I'll tell you, the scrubby is not very fun to feel. However, I've felt worse. It does remind me of the 2 yarns I have only disliked. I got one from the dollar store that was very much like this, but it had twists at each spot. And I had one yarn many years ago, easily, I was pregnant with my first, so easily 26 years ago now. And it was the worst yarn I'd ever felt in my life. You could not frog it. It was horrible. I'm pretty sure it's the only ball of yarn I actually threw out because I hated working with it so much. So I am very easily going with yarns. But this one, remember, if you're using it, it is not rough, but it's definitely not smooth, but it is for cleaning. So keep that in mind when you're using it. It is to clean. Now we're going to cast on 50 stitches, and that is so that this particular cloth I'm making is going to wrap up around these 2. So that's how this one's going to attach. Now I am going to hopefully be able to have enough to make a second one, a second style for a separate video. And I'm hoping that that one will be have sewn ends, so you'll kind of slip it on. And that's also why I didn't use the Swiffer Wet Jet, because that's the one I do actually own. I will have to work on its design because the jets I have on my Swiffer Wet Jet are very close to the mop heads, so you can't really make one of these covers that way. So I'll have to work on that. And I will be doing that in the future. But this Swiffer, or Static-Matic, I think is what it's called, from the dollar store. And it was only, I think it was, let me check. I think it was $2.30 or $2.50, $2.75, $3, something like that. And I grabbed it. I did grab a broom handle, and it, probably won't get used in my house because, like I said, I have a steamer and a wet jet. But I figure for this, it's a really great idea for either a college student, a young couple that's just starting, they don't have a lot of funds, a lot of money, and for people who just want to reuse things and are tired of throwing out, one-stop pads. These will not replace the duster pads that they have, but what you can do for this, and I've had to do it before because I've had my other wet mops fail, grab a spray bottle. And what I would recommend is putting a mixture of soap and vinegar in it and spray with a spray bottle in front of you and then use the mop. It is the way I do it if I have to use one of these and my wet jet or my steamer's not working. So I figured it would be a great budget type project for people. But I'm going to count here: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 22, 26, 28, 32, 36, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. I do find that when I'm casting on this way, 47, I am much better when I'm not trying to film it. 48, 49, and the last one is 50. So there's your 50 stitches. And the actual person I'm thinking about when I say a young couple is my son and his fiance, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. I know you watch. Hope you're doing well. They are starting they've been out in Newfoundland for a little while, and my son's in the Army, so he's moved out to Gagetown, and she went with them, and they're engaged, and they're a new couple starting out. So a lot of times I try to think about things that they could use in their house that a young couple needs that don't have a lot of money. And I know she doesn't knit, but I am going to be trying to come out with a crocheted version, so. But I know she watches the video, so hello, Nicole. And I'm just going to keep going. Hope I didn't embarrass you too much. And you're going to knit, straight knit. This is called the garter stitch. And this is actually the first stitch you learn when you learn to knit. The reason I haven't dealt with it first is because it's very plain, very basic, very simple and easy. But it has a certain look to it where you're going to have a lot of ridges, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I am going to use a garter stitch border at some point, but for a cleaning cloth, I do think this simple, easy cloth will look really nice with a garter because it will have the ridges to help collect the dirt. And like I said, you just throw it in the wash. I do recommend that if you have a wash, if you have your own washing machine, or if you use a laundromat, I do recommend vinegar. I know there's products out there. The companies are pushing products like Downy's pushing that odor deodorizer for your laundry. Go to the store, buy a $4 jug of vinegar, put a cup in where you put your soap. You want it with your soaps, a cup in with your soaps, and then a cup in your fabric softener. I have started using that and use a fraction of the cleaning supplies I used to use because how good the vinegar cleans. You do not get a smell of vinegar when it comes out. I do use scent beads, but I have many times run out of the scent beads and you do not smell vinegar. But what it does is it kills all the mold and it kills all the bacteria in your clothes, which is exactly what that product is pushing from Downy. And at the end of the day, especially if you don't like a lot of heavy scents and you're trying to keep yourself to a very much more minimalistic scent type of life, if you're allergic to scents and that, I recommend vinegar highly in your laundry. It is going to kill anything it can. And it really does clean very nicely. My husband is a road service mechanic. He comes home muddy, greasy, a good portion of the year. And I don't have to do his coveralls, but I do have to do his shirts and his pants. And I will tell you, there are clothes that are just horribly stained that I could not get clean with products on products on products. And then I will use vinegar, and it maintains a much better cleanliness. You use a lot less. I do, like I said, I use scent beads, but I use so little of them. You don't need much. I can get my scent beads to last 2-3 weeks, and that's with 3 adults doing laundry pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. And I don't know if my youngest actually uses, he buys Downy scent beads, so he buys a scent of his own because I don't think he likes my lavender. He likes other scents, but I do like using vinegar. I mean, oh my God, I can't prop it up enough. A lot of times vinegar is my go-to cleaner. If you want to clean something, disinfect it. It's a whole lot cheaper. It'll go you a whole lot farther, and it works a whole lot better. So I really only buy Tide Pods now, and I do not listen to them when they say 2 or 3 of them. I only listen when it's a really soiled load. If it's not a soiled load, 1 will work just fine. I think we've gotten into a society where we are pushing way too many things, way too often, to buy more and more and more and more, and spend your money and spend your money and spend your money. And I think we need to slow it down. We need to dumb it down. We need to stop adding multiple chemicalized things to our bodies, whether it be our food. And I'm a big gummies girl. I love my gummies. I do buy a lot of gummies. It is why I am the way I am. But I am lactose intolerant, and when I had to stop eating a lot of the processed foods, because you will not believe how much lactose is in a lot of that, I dropped a huge amount of weight because I wasn't eating the processed foods. If I want to have brownies, I got to make them myself. If I want cookies, I got to make that myself. So I make a lot of things now by myself at home, like treats, desserts, all of that has to be made with my milk and my butter. And it gets a lot of the processed foods out of you, and you're far more healthier. If we can do that with our scents in our homes, I do know that when I went to Yankee Candle, I think it was 4 years ago, I was buying a scent, and I was looking at one of the fall ones, and she said, "Do you have animals?" And I said, "Well, I do. Why?" And she said, "Because this one can harm them." And then I did a bit of research and found out that some of those scents you have to be very, very careful with, that like the Febreze and that. Some of the fall scents will have something like clove in it, and that can be very harmful for your animals. You may not realize it, but it could be harming your animals. I use very little. I do use a lot in my bedroom because like I said, I love my lavender, but it is, in my opinion, a smart thing to try and cut down as much as possible. My husband will find this funny because he's always said that he's more than willing to cut all of it out. I like to have my bedroom have the Glade, and I do have the Airwick, and I have a couple of things in here for just my sleeping, just to help me sleep. But other than that, and I used to use bounces all the time, bounce dryer sheets. I don't use that stuff anymore at all. I managed to cut out a lot of my laundry products by using vinegar and cutting out a lot of the harsh chemicals. I do recommend it. If you have the chance, it's cheaper in life to go with less chemicals. And as I said, the commercial that drives me crazy right now is that Downy odor remover. And I think of it every time I see the commercial. I say to myself the same thing: well, just use vinegar. It'll do the exact same thing. It's less harmful, and it's much more natural product, and it's cheaper. Those bottles are like $9 for those deodorizers. Trust me when I say you can save a lot more money if you use vinegar. So I'm going to keep going. Sorry for the rant. Kind of went on a little tangent there, but I'm just going to keep going until we get 3 inches, and then I'm going to darn in the ends, and I will show you what it looks like on the Swiffer bottom. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I am done. I did notice when I got 3 inches, I had to do more because I wanted it to fit on here, so it ended up being another inch. So what you're going to do, you're going to stuff that in there. I know you can darn it in, but stuff it in there, stuff it there, and now you have, oh, maybe I should do about 5 inches if you want to, and there you have a pretty good, oh, there we go, there, you just kind of got to stretch it out a bit. A nice Swiffer cleaning cloth that you can throw in the wash and you reuse it. So that will be today's video. I'm just going to darn these ends in. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm just going to darn the ends in. I do hope to earn your like and subscription. If you are a returning visitor, thank you. If you're a new visitor, welcome. I will be doing another video of a slightly different style. A different pattern, and hopefully it'll look really nice and really good. I have a crocheted version I'd like to do as well, so stay tuned for that. There will be new videos for those coming up. So another one that's knit, and then another one that I think I have an idea for crochet. I do hope I have enough of this yarn to make it those, and then I have actually one other idea to do with this yarn, so hopefully I will have enough. I will see you again, hopefully. As I said, I'd love to hear from you in the questions, comments, or concerns below. And I would love to earn your subscription. And I will see you again. Bye.